Morning all. Just out on the deck having a coffee. It's a beautiful morning, 6:30 a.m. Doesn't get better than this. And I've just been thinking a lot lately about this journey of trying to have a career in music and the concept of quitting, and how many good friends of mine, including myself, have just reached these breaking points. Significant ones, I've probably got two fistfuls of them, like kind of like dark night situations where you're just like, I'm done. Like, I can't, there's nowhere else to go. And I've had friends do the same thing. They're like, I'm done. And I would give them advice, which I, weirdly enough, in that same situation, I can't give myself that same advice when I'm feeling that way. But I've easily given good friends of mine advice, and that advice is, you don't want to quit. You just need a break. And when you say you quit, you're allowing yourself to, to have some space, like, because it's something that you love so much and you got so attached to that you feel like the only way to have some space from it is to quit. And we all know we're not quitting. Maybe some people do. Some people do quit. It's not for them. But I think what we need to normalize more is just saying, I need a break, and it's okay to slow down. It's okay to take a knee. And for some people, it's okay to quit. Like, it's just okay to say, hey, you know what? Music's going to be part of my life, but in a very different way, in a very different capacity. It's going to be this much of the pie, not 90% of it, with a sliver for everything else. And I think if you're at that spot of like thinking of quitting, just ask, like, do you just need a break? Are you operating under an unsustainable model, or are you avoiding some real deep work / improvement in the craft that you're not doing? And I've probably been through all of those things at one time or another. Sometimes there's just something, I'm like, I'm this person, like, I'm this kind of creator. I'm this kind of, I make this kind of thing. And then I realize, it's like, wait a second, you're not there yet. And there's some work in there. There's some more work in there. And it's like, it feels like you've already climbed so many mountains. Depends where you started from. Depends when you started. And you climb so many mountains. And it's like getting to the bottom of another one and you're tired. And you're more tired than you thought you'd be. You look up and you go, I don't know if I can climb that. I don't know if I can keep going. I'm kind of done. And then, so you let yourself be done for, this is the whole thing I'm getting at. Like, let yourself be done. Be done for whatever. Just say, okay, I'm done. Lay there at the bottom of the mountain, set up camp, finish up your provisions, drink whatever you got left, eat whatever you got. You're turning around anyways. And I think in that process, something happens. And you could just give yourself the space you probably just needed in the first place. But we have this really, like, harsh way of giving it to ourselves by saying we're quitting, and we're being super hard on ourselves. And so then all of a sudden, there's a clear day like today, and you can see the top of the mountain, and you can go, you know what, I think I might be able to hike that. I think I can start that. And you pack up your stuff, you start getting supplies together, you start, naturally this is just like happening. And then next thing you know, you're halfway up the mountain, and then you're on top of that one, and you've gone through a bunch of shit, you're cut up, you've been attacked by something, whatever, it was a whole other thing. You questioned it even going to the top, back on this journey, but you were just moving ahead. There was a natural force pulling you up to the next mountain. And yeah, I think that's I think that's how we have to look at some of this stuff. Like, it's a hard path to choose, on a lot of levels. It's a very hard path. You have to juggle a lot of things to make it work. And it's very easy to feel inadequate in many areas of life. Now, I would say a lot of that 100% comes down to, when you're comparing yourself to people who are lawyers, doctors, they're driving a brand new car, their house is perfect, all this shit. I mean, you don't know what kind of trap or prison they're in. So first off, like, I can't tell you how many people that I know that are millionaires and are absolutely miserable, stressed, miserable, hate it. Probably wish they had what some of, some creatives have, in terms of waking up and walking into your creative space and making something and adjusting your lifestyle accordingly so that you can make it happen. Not having all this, keeping up with the Smiths bullshit, like, gotta have this, gotta have that. For what? So that when you have a dinner party, like, oh, nice car. Okay, great. Is that compliment going to ride you through your next year? Like, no, it's not. It's like, what are you waking up and doing every day? And is the thing that you're doing every day, actually, can you get lost in it for hours? I think that's a big concept. Everything's hard. Everything has shit to it. Everything has spikes on it. But can you get lost in it? Can you exhaust 5 or 6 hours without looking at the clock? And I definitely think that is a common thing creatives have, for sure. So I don't know, this was just like kind of a brain dump. If you're thinking of quitting, or I know I have, and I will again, but I've kind of come over another hump in the last few months, and a lot of things just needed to change on my end. I get into slumps, I really do. And doesn't mean I've totally lost productivity or anything. I'm a pretty productive person, but I do get tangled in some mindset traps, and some habits that are always improving, yet every time you improve, like, the more you improve, this is the thing, like, it's crazy actually, because the more bad habits you take out and the more bad crap you get out of your mind, the more whatever's left sticks out. And it's just, so it becomes this like kind of, it's like, whoa, there's this and that now, and there's an unmasking, of things. It's like EQing, really. It's like you EQ something out and then something else is buried in there. So yeah, it's just a little thought stream, and I hope this maybe resonates with somebody.